Hello and welcome. We are Cohesive Minds, a training and consultancy that specialises in conflict management in the workplace. Have you ever experienced conflict at work? It can leave you angry, upset and uninspired. We work together with you to help manage the common conflict situations that leave employees feeling unhappy. So what is conflict? Put simply, it is a disagreement between two parties. With an increase in globalisation, the world is fast becoming more culturally diverse. This has been highlighted as one of the main reasons as to why conflict in the workplace arises. With this trend set to continue, there is an increasing importance on conflict management in the workplace. Conflict occurs when people perceive that as a consequence of a disagreement, there is a threat to their needs, interests, or concerns. Although conflict is very normal in an organisation, there is a need for growth through continued improvement and understanding and insight. This is where our product can help resolve conflict and help the workplace to grow and develop into a healthy, efficient environment. So what effect does conflict have on the working environment? As an organisation strives to achieve their goals, they are often met with challenges they must overcome as a team. Often, these challenges leave room for conflict between members and staff. Conflict is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be seen as a constructive force, and in certain circumstances, it can be welcomed or even encouraged. For example, it can be seen as an aid to incremental improvement in organisation design and functioning and to the decision-making process. Conflict can be an agent for evolution and for internal and external change. However, conflict has to be properly identified and handled appropriately to help minimise the destructive influence of the win-lose situation. This is where Cohesive Minds provides the necessary tools and advice for organisations facing conflict, specifically dealing with it in the appropriate manner and turning it from a negative into a positive. From a survey of practicing managers who reported that they spend approximately 20% of their time dealing with conflict situations, Schmidt recorded a number of positive and negative outcomes of conflict. The positives included better ideas produced, people forced to search for new approaches, long-standing problems brought to the surface and resolved, clarification for individual views, stimulation of interest and creativity, and a chance for people to test their capabilities. Some of the negatives include people feeling deflated and demanded, an increase in the distance between people, development of a climate of mistrust and suspicion, individuals and groups concentrating on their own narrow interests, development of resistance rather than teamwork, and an increase in employee turnover. A huge negative of conflict is the adverse effect it can have on the bottom line for your company. When CPP Incorporated, publishers of the Myers-Briggs Assessment and the Thomas Kilmann Conflict Mode Instrument, commissioned a study on workplace conflict, they found that in 2008, US employees spent 2.8 hours per week dealing with conflict. This amounts to approximately 359 billion in paid hours, or the equivalent of 385 million working days. In addition, the CPP study identified that 25% of employees said that avoiding conflict led to sickness or absence from work. Equally alarming, nearly 10% reported that workplace conflict led to project failure, and more than one-third said that conflict resulted in someone leaving the company, either through firing or quitting. These negatives translate into real financial losses for businesses. It is clear from the evidence presented that conflict can have both negative and positive outcomes. However, Cohesive Minds provides the necessary services to help businesses avoid the detrimental effects and approach a conflict in the correct way. The following is a situation-based example of conflict that can often arise. We will go on to provide suggestions of how the conflict can best be dealt with. In this scenario, the company has been given an ultimatum to cut costs.
Free created using Powtoon.